Welcome back to WION World is One. You're watching Speed News with me, Vidur Kathuria. Let's get started. US President Donald Trump reportedly said he could launch a second military operation into Venezuela if its acting president, Delcy Rodriguez, stops cooperating. Trump also said the US may subsidize an effort by oil firms to rebuild the country's energy infrastructure. He had earlier announced that Venezuela will turn over between 30 and 50 million barrels of sanctioned oil. Meanwhile, a US official reportedly said a recent classified intelligence assessment determined that top members of the regime, including new acting leader Rodriguez, were best positioned to lead a stable government if Nicolas Maduro lost power. Maduro and his wife, Cilia Flores, pleaded not guilty in New York court after the US captured them in a surprise attack. Russia has claimed that its forces shot down hundreds of Ukrainian drones. This is while Ukraine on the same day reported carrying out attacks on Russian targets, including a military arsenal over the past day. According to the Russian Defense Ministry, Russian forces struck storage facilities for long-range drones and hit temporary deployment points for Ukrainian armed formations across 158 locations. The country's air defense systems shot down 360 Ukrainian fixed-wing drones, 2 aerial bombs and 2 US-made HIMARS rockets in the Special Military Operations Zone over the past 24 hours. Russian forces also reportedly intercepted multiple drones in Kostroma Oblast in central Russia and over the Black Sea. On the same day, the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine said that nearly 190 combat engagements had taken place along the front lines over the past day. Ukraine's allies, UK and France, have signed a draft declaration on security guarantees for Ukraine in Paris. This comes as the coalition of the willing representatives from 35 countries committed to a post-ceasefire US-led monitoring mission and a multinational European force. After finalizing the commitments, French President Emmanuel Macron, British Prime Minister Keir Starmer and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky signed the declaration of intent on deployment of troops if ceasefire is achieved with Russia. President Emmanuel Macron confirmed France is ready to send thousands of soldiers as a force of reassurance. The UK and France announced plans to build military hubs across Ukraine. The leader of Yemen's Southern Transitional Council, Edrous al-Zubaidi, failed to board a plane set to take him to Riyadh and fled instead to an unknown destination. This is according to a Saudi-backed coalition in the country. Zubaidi was set to travel to Saudi Arabia days after Yemen's government said it had asked Riyadh to host a forum on the southern issue. Meanwhile, over 15 Saudi strikes reportedly hit Zubaidi's home province after he fled. In a statement, coalition spokesperson said a flight carrying a large number of senior leaders of the separatist group departed after a delay of more than 3 hours without Zubaidi and with no information on his whereabouts. The remarks came amid efforts to end fighting that erupted last month between STC, backed by the United Arab Emirates, and Yemen's Saudi-backed internationally recognized government, which has triggered a major feud between the Gulf allies. At least 36 people have been killed during the last 10 days of protests across Iran. This is according to a US-based human rights activist news agency, which reported that 34 of those confirmed killed were protesters and 2 were affiliated with security forces. Even as Iranian authorities have not published an official death toll, they confirmed the death of reportedly 3 security personnel. Meanwhile, people are taking to the streets in almost every province amid crackdown launched by authorities. In the capital, security forces fired tear gas to disperse demonstrators at Tehran's Grand Bazaar. Protesters threw gas canisters amid clashes with forces. A report released by Palestinian journalist Syndicate say a total of 256 Palestinian journalists have been killed since the conflict between Hamas and Israel erupted on October 7, 2023. The report suggests most of the killings took place in war-torn Gaza. According to the report, 2025 is one of the most bloody and dangerous years for Palestinian journalism, with 63 media workers being killed in the year. Bangladesh's largest Islamist party, Jamaat-e-Islami, has sounded alarm over the fairness of the upcoming polls ahead of the high-stakes general election in Bangladesh next month. While minority leaders are pressing the opposition BNP for stronger commitments on safety and rights following a meeting of its Central Executive Council in Dhaka on January 5th, the Jamaat-e-Islami issued a stern warning to the interim government led by Yunus. It claimed that conditions for a free and fair vote are not yet in place and accused a section of the interim government of favouring a specific political party. With the Hasina-led Awami League barred from contesting the elections under Anti-Terrorism Act, late Premier Khaleda Zia's Bangladesh Nationalist Party is widely seen as the frontrunner to form the next government. Jamaat-e-Islami, which was a coalition partner of the BNP during its 2001 to 2006 tenure in power, has now emerged as its main rival in the upcoming polls. The US Department of Justice has said it is still reviewing more than 2 million documents potentially related to late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. This comes as the DOJ failed to meet the December 19th deadline to release all files linked to Epstein sex trafficking investigation. In a court filing submitted on January 5th, the US Department of Justice officials said more than 2 million documents remained in various phases of review. The letter said about 12,285 documents comprising of more than 125,000 pages had already been publicly released in response to the law, adding that less than 1% of the tranche currently in review. The pace at which the Trump administration is releasing files related to Epstein means it could be several years before it meets Congress's mandate for full transparency. A 6.4 magnitude earthquake struck off the Philippines' southern islands. There were no immediate reports of damage or injuries. The US Geological Survey said the quake struck at a depth of 10 kilometers, around 68 kilometers east of Bacolod, a village in the southern town of Hinatuan in Surigao del Sur province. A Philippine seismology agency warned of damage and aftershocks. According to the agency, the earthquake's epicenter was situated less than 10 kilometers from where a pair of strong earthquakes hit in October, killing 7 people. A new study suggests German greenhouse gas emissions fell 1.5% in 2025, a pace much slower than recent years. According to a think tank, this has put climate goals in Europe's biggest economy in jeopardy. By 2030, Germany aims to reduce its emissions by 65% compared to 1990 levels. Asian defense stocks gave back recent gains amid mixed regional market trading as investors weighed lingering geopolitical uncertainty following the US attack on Venezuela and renewed aggressive rhetoric over Greenland from the White House. Major defense-related names in Japan and South Korea saw share prices fall, reflecting profit-taking after recent rallies. Meanwhile, broader Asian indexes delivered a mixed performance, with Japan's Nikkei and Hong Kong's Hang Seng sliding, South Korea's Kospi climbing and Australia's ASX rising on softer domestic inflation data. The retreat in defense stocks highlights caution among investors over geopolitical catalysts and broader market direction. Oil prices fell after President Donald Trump said Venezuela would hand over 30 to 50 million barrels of sanctioned oil to the United States, raising fresh concerns about global oversupply. US crude dropped more than 1%, while Brent also slipped. Markets are already under pressure from weak demand growth and rising supply. Analysts say Trump's comments signal a preference to boost supply rather than curb it. Venezuelan oil shipments, largely handled by Chevron under US authorization, could be redirected from other buyers, including China. Meanwhile, US crude inventories fell last week, though fuel stocks rose, adding to mixed market signals. The US dollar traded in a narrow range as currency markets awaited a key batch of US economic data that could shape the Federal Reserve's interest rate outlook. Traders have largely shrugged off recent geopolitical tensions, including developments in Venezuela and China's export controls on Japan, focusing instead on upcoming labor market figures. For clues on future rate cuts, major currencies were mostly subdued in early Asia trade, with the Aussie dollar dipping then recovering. While the euro, sterling and yen saw little change, the dollar index remained around 98.6 amid expectations of at least 2 Fed rate cuts this year, though uncertainty about economic strength persists following data disruptions from last year's government shutdown. India's fuel demand surged to a record high in December, with consumption rising to 21.75 million metric tons, up more than 5% from a year earlier. That's the highest level since records began in 1998. The increase was driven by strong use of petrol, diesel and cooking gas, signaling resilient economic activity. Petrol demand jumped over 7% year-on-year, diesel use rose 5% and LPG consumption climbed more than 11%. India remains the world's third largest oil consumer. Meta has paused international expansion of its Ray-Ban display smart glasses due to short supply and strong demand in the United States. The company had planned to launch the augmented reality glasses in the UK, France, Italy and Canada after seeing strong sales of earlier versions. Meta said it will prioritize fulfilling US orders while re-evaluating international availability, citing extremely limited inventory for what it called a first-of-its-kind product. Germany's media minister Wolfram Weimer has called on the EU Commission to take legal action against Elon Musk's social media platform X over the spread of sexually explicit AI-generated content. Weimer said the platform is witnessing what he described as the industrialization of sexual harassment. European leaders and the EU Commission have raised concerns about content created using X's inbuilt AI chatbot Grok. The minister referred to images of women and children in skimpy clothing generated using a Grok feature known as Spicy Mode. Amazon's cloud unit AWS has partnered with German automotive hardware supplier Aumovio to support the commercial rollout of self-driving vehicles. The partnership will begin with Aurora's autonomous trucks. As part of the expanded collaboration, Amazon Web Services will become Aumovio's preferred cloud provider for AI-powered autonomous driving development. The technology will be used for Aurora's planned large-scale deployment of driverless freight trucks from 2027. Privacy-focused smartphones and new form factors have emerged as key highlights at the CES trade show in Las Vegas. The Hero Secure phone, powered by Morena, was unveiled with a de-Googled operating system and a physical kill switch. The device allows hardware-level control over microphones, cameras and sensors, targeting privacy-conscious users. Hero says the phone combines strong security with high-end features including an AMOLED display. Samsung also drew attention with its Galaxy Z Trifold smartphone with 3-panel folding device, features dual hinges and opens into a 10-inch tablet-like screen. Samsung says the phone supports multitasking, streaming and productivity, features similar to a desktop experience. Defending champions Ivory Coast cruised past Burkina Faso to reach the quarterfinals of the Africa Cup of Nations. Winger Amad Diallo scored 1 goal and created another to help the holders seal the victory. Ivory Coast will now face record 7-time champions Egypt and Mohamed Salah, who defeated Benin 3-1 on Monday for a place in the semi-finals. The heavyweight quarter-final clash will take place on January 10th. It will be a repeat of the 2006 final where Egypt triumphed on penalties. That's it on this edition of Speed News. News and updates will continue on the other side of this short break. Keep watching WION World is One.